your opinion on something, Dan. Put you on the
Sure.
spot here.
Go
Just
on.
looking at that division, so 22 teams, that's 42 league games. Do you think that's too many at step 6 for a league season? There's teams
I've seen conversations on this on Twitter during the week. I think at the rate that games are called off and the ground shares,
exactly.
and I think between the Christmas period and January, where you see it pretty much every week the games are off.
Yeah.
I think to end that at the end of April is a very, very tight schedule. And I think there is too many games. We saw it with Sandhurst last season, where they were playing pretty much every other day.
Yeah.
I do and I don't. I do in a sense that I think league finishes too early.
Agreed.
For a 22-team league. If they pushed it back to maybe mid-May, end of May, I know that's a long time, but you're kind of getting that break January. The last 2 seasons, January has been a write-off for everyone, probably from step 4 to step 6.
Well, February's not been much better this year, is it, really?
It hasn't. No. We had the freeze and now we've had the rain.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's starting to turn. But I do get your point and I do agree in some aspects. But yeah, if they extended the season, I think the season is the cut-off's too soon. Based on the games that we do have off.
I agree. And I'm going to say something controversial as well. The cut-off is obviously there to allow for playoffs to happen.
Yeah.
Do we really need playoffs at step 6? Should we be promoting the best 2 teams instead? Because playoffs, further on up can be quite lucrative. And with the best will in the world and the biggest respect to some really good clubs that are doing good things, they're hardly going to be hugely money-spinning games, are they? I mean, look, they'd probably get a bigger crowd in. Whereas, if, as you say, they were to play until mid-May, promote the best 2 on point. No one can argue with that. The best 2 teams, the teams with the 2 highest point scoring teams, promote them. Play more league games in sort of April, May, when the EFL season's finished, the step 1 and step 2 seasons finished. Then you're likely to get sort of some bigger crowds in. I don't know. I'm not sure about needing playoffs that level, but I think I'm probably on my own there. And people at Eversley and Langley, etc., say, "What the hell are you talking about?" We deserve.
Yeah, and I think this is the thing. If you look at the combined counties, for an example, you've got Rayners Lane in the north who are running away with it.
Yeah.
You've got Farnham in the south, which, if there were no playoffs, the season's over before it's even started.
Yeah.
And again, in Division 1, Amersham running away with it, 10 points clear. So I think for the longevity of the season and the competitiveness, you need that playoff. You need those top 2 to 5 to be, or 2 even down to 7 or 8 to be playing for something to the end of the season. Because so for example, there were no playoffs in step 5 last season.
Mm-hmm.
So you had Rains Park, you had Badshot, and you had Jersey in the south who were levels above pretty much everyone else. And the problem is, for the teams below that, when you get to the last couple of weeks of the season, because there's no prize money either, the league positions, I mean, it's nice to finish as high as possible, but where's the incentive? Whereas if you've got the last few games of the season and there's a chance to be playoffs, then the incentive is much there. The players are more up for it. You can attract more fans. But I do get your point again about the top 2 best teams. But I just think for the competitiveness throughout the season, I think you do need it there.
You've won the argument there, Dan. I think most people listening will be agreeing with you rather than a fuddy-duddy like me with my old-fashioned views. I can't argue with what you've said there. I think
I think it's a fair point.
It's going to be exciting. No, it's there, and it is what it is. And we've got 4 local teams.
Absolutely.
Going for those playoffs. As I say, Langley have played more games, but Woodley, for example, have got 20 games still to play. And
Yeah.
does the season end last week in April, does it, in the Combined Counties League?
Yes,
Or
it does.
before
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Last week in April. So, they've got 20 games over 10 weeks. Look, it's good for us folk who like to go and catch a game midweek. So, I'll be happy to go down there and watch Woodley again before the end of the season. Jordan's done a good job there. Yeah, it's always the same, isn't it? It's always the same fixture pile-ups. And how many games have Tadley got left?
19 minimum.
Okay.
Yeah, so we were meant to play Woodley on Tuesday, just gone. But unfortunately, the weather beat us again. So
that's it. It's cup matches, isn't it? It's cup matches as well. And, again, cup matches is a funny one. We saw in the week the Combined Counties League official Twitter had a little bit of a moan about county cup competitions, and they've got 2 competitions of their own. And again, like you've just said, cup competitions give the clubs a chance to, have a bit of glory. And, maybe if they're not doing so well in the league or don't really have, the realistic opportunity of playoffs, then, cup competitions are important as well, aren't they? So when will that be replayed, that Woodley game? Have you got a date for it yet or not?
This is the problem. We don't have a Tuesday spare now, except for the 27th.
Okay.
But on the 27th, Woodley have got Berks County, I believe. Berks County.
Okay.
And that's there. And then other than that, they're playing as well. So it's it's going to be tough. It's looking like a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday situation towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
For both clubs. But going back to the cups, I'd probably take your sentiment from the last 2 topics from the playoffs. Do we really need to be in 3 cup competitions and the league when games are being postponed? Again, that's up for debate. We've got for many cases, even going back, you've got the FA Cup and FA Vars at the beginning of the season, which are great. They're the cups you want to be in and progress in. You've got the revenue from that. You've got the hype around the town.
Yeah.
But then you've got the county cups, which are great. Obviously, we saw Bournemouth at Tadley last season. Then you've got the kind of district cups. So the North Hants, the Aldershot, the Berks. Is there one for that? I know you've got the Berks and Bucks, which is the county cup, and then you've got one down, and then you've got the league cups.
Yeah, they don't really do district competitions in Berkshire, but I know Hampshire do that. Are they invitation only? Are you bound to enter those, or is that the choice of the club? Or
I think it's the choice, to be honest. I think it's the choice. But yeah, there are a lot of teams in those competitions, all from around the area. So again, it's some more fixtures to contend with, more strain on the pitches this time of year. So I think that's something that needs to be looked at as well.